All right, folks. Hello and welcome to 2021, episode 10 of Radio Reflex, season 3. We are back for the first time in 2021. I know we said we were going to do a review show at the end of last year, but at the end of last year, a few things went down that took our attention away from doing the podcast, so we were unable to finish it. But we are back now. Me, Ian, of course, as always, my co-host Alan. How have you been, Alan?
We've been all right, yeah. To be honest, the end of last year, and even through Christmas, me and Ian did, we did have some plans, but basically, they came to a lot of naught basically over the holiday break. To be honest, a bit of that's on me. Unfortunately, I did have some not only coming out of like a hugely busy work season right up until the very last day at work. I had a few health issues which didn't help, and some medication which did not do its intended purpose, and to be honest, struggling with a few things mentally. So in a way, it was I don't know about you, Ian, it was my least restful Christmas I've ever had, to be honest, because the Christmas before that was pure bliss and relaxation. Being on a private island with the family for 2 weeks, but this one not so much. But unfortunately, I think we've both come back from the holiday seasons, kind of determined to get this year off to the right start. And I mean, this year is already accelerating into a whole bunch of things. Some things that we can and cannot talk about. But yeah, we are finally back. So our adoring fans, please come out. We're waiting for you to say how much you missed us. Although you probably didn't miss us, since you probably saw us at various events and stuff like that right through the break.
No, it was I mean, myself, I of course I had a little issue with my coffee van breaking down the week before Christmas. It's making me have to change my Christmas plans and stuff. So I totally understand that this is probably not the rest and relaxation season that we had planned, but it's good. And now we sort of jumped straight back into 2020. Well, at least I have. I know you haven't been to as many events as I have, but like it's full on testing for the calling, really.
Well, Ian, I have to stop you there. I have to reveal somebody has outed me that the true reason I've been so stressed over the holiday break, if you'd like to bring up, definitely one of our number one fans, Kale there, has revealed the real reason I was so stressed out over the holiday break. If you want to bring it up there. Yes, indeed, it is actually your fault, Ian. Winning games, making me fret about this tattoo. Actually, to be honest, regardless of the result, because I actually have a lot of ground to make up. Regardless of the result, if the tattoo happens, I'm looking forward to it, because we're both old men now. To be honest, I intend to work for Legend Story Studios. Thanks, Liam. I intend to work for Legend Story Studios as long as the lights are on and I can still get in with the swipe card in the front. So I've got nothing left to lose. So getting a fab tattoo somewhere, maybe not on the face or the neck, but getting one anywhere else is not going to be a downer on my career movement, since I don't intend on going anywhere. I'm pretty sure everybody at Legend Story Studios are like, this whole thing has to work because we don't want to work anywhere else, And to be honest, somebody asked me today, what the job front was like in New Zealand. A Fab fan was like, hey, I've got a question for you, non-Fab related. What's it like, in IT in New Zealand? I said, I have no idea, because I don't know about you, Ian, but I've always kind of lucked into jobs, even the job with LSS, I got approached at the right time, and it just, things came together. So definitely a lifer. Fab. So getting the tattoo, and possibilities. We have to stream it, Ian. You have to stream me crying like a baby as they put a needle into some part of my body.
It depends on how big a tattoo and how long you're gonna have to be in the chair. Because I'm correct in assuming you don't actually have any tattoos, do you?
I've never. I've always kind of wanted one, but then I realized that previously, like I was like, tattoos, they're kind of cool. And then I think, man, tattoo costs X amount of dollars. How many single cards, how many boosters could I buy for the cost of tattoo? And that's always kind of,
how many crap magic packs have you bought that you could have had a tattoo instead?
Yeah, exactly. I've saved so much money on tattoos and poured it straight into cardboard crack over all these years, to be honest with you. So, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I actually thinking about like the ideas, possible ideas for it. I was actually thinking maybe we should look at getting somebody to design something original for us. But yeah, there's ideas circulating through my head, So, I mean, you have a few tattoos, don't you, Ian?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I have on my leg. I have a cartoon William Shakespeare from back in 2000 when I was part of the Ugly Shakespeare Company. Pretty much, I got it because at the time I was like a paid professional Shakespearean actor. I'm like, this is probably the only time in my life I'm going to be a paid Shakespearean actor. So I got that along with my tour manager. We got the same tattoo done when we were in Palmerston North because there was nothing else to do on the weekend that we were in Palmerston North. Go figure. But it was designed, like that tattoo was designed by a good friend of mine. I also have a squad tattoo of a dumpling of all things that a friend of mine, she won a competition on George FM for you and 4 friends to get the same tattoo, but you had to design it and send it in. And unbeknownst to the 3 other of us, she entered us in, and we didn't think much of it because we were like, it's fine, we won't win. We didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden we got all expenses paid trip down to the NZ Tattoo Fest to get our squad tattoos, which were of a dumpling that says Dumpling Days, which is a reference to because it was my friends from roller derby. It's a reference to our post match practice tradition of going to get dumplings. So both of my tattoos have been designed by friends of mine, and they both have sort of quite particular meaning, but they are both kind of unique.
Well, I must admit, I am waiting to see. Well, maybe I'll be the first fab tattoo because we've seen people cosplay, people create their own gaming rooms entirely dedicated to fab.
There have been rumors of other people that were getting tattoos, but I haven't seen they haven't eventuated, is what I'm saying. So yeah, quite possibly. Well, I mean, what we need to do, because Monarch has actually been pushed back from when we originally Monarch was going to be out in March. It's now going to be out in April because of COVID and stuff. So I think we actually need to set a date in the sand of when season 3 actually ends. And so yeah. So
I think maybe only fair to do it is maybe it should end on the first day of spoiler season.
Sounds fair. That sounds fair.
And also so we can try and get anything organized before Monarch comes out, So I think that could be.
Oh my god! I think that's an amazing idea. If the team at LSS will go for it, is perhaps what we do is your tattoo is actually our spoiler for Monarch.
Get the whole text. That may be quite a difficult tattoo. I might have to get it as quite large, but we'll see. I've still got some time to make it up. I mean, what happens if we get a draw in? What if I just manage to curve into a draw? I mean, are we both going to go on the table?
Possibly. I mean, I've been giving you outs, but you haven't been taking them. I mean, yeah, you've been doing silly stuff like taking decks that weren't built to win in UPF and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we've had a little bit of fun, but actually, I do know somebody else was intending to get a fab tattoo. So shout out to Jacob Pearson. He was. I'm still hoping he was going to get a Bravo themed one. But anyway, shout out to Jacob because apparently he's got a stomach bug at the moment, and
Oh no,
I think he works like 100 hours a week usually at his
easily,
at
easily.
yeah at Card Merchant. So obviously he's probably half his illness is not just a stomach bug; it's also probably exhaustion as
Being
well.
run
And
down.
obviously we are working to get the calling organised, which is going to be the weekend's going to be at Card Merchant coming up. But yeah, I have been doing. Yeah, we've had a little bit of game time. We've had some. We've had some interesting times, but I just really haven't played much over this period. I can't remember. I think the last time we played together um, was that Shuffle and Cut where I was in for 2 rounds. So we
Yeah,
did
yeah.
get one. We did get one, but I brought my daughter with me because my wife was out doing some stuff, and I brought my daughter Beatrice with me, and I thought she was going to be quite content looking at my phone and watching episodes of Bluey and Paw Patrol. But the problem with today's kids is they don't want to watch TV endlessly. She was like, I'm bored. I want to do something else. And unfortunately, I can't leave her totally unattended in the middle of Newmarket. But I don't know about you, Ian, but when you were a kid, when I was a kid, I could have watched TV 24/7, no problems at all. But today's kids just seem to want to go outdoors and stuff
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
I mean, yeah, we didn't even have a choice of what we were watching. We just had to watch whatever was on.
Yeah, we just watched TV in our
Days
day.
of our
TV ended.
days
TV
of our
actually ended.
lives,
Oh yeah.
or you know,
And
if you
TV
were lucky,
TV
there was like a
actually
rerun of Sale of the Century or something on.
yeah, and TV actually ended. TV actually ended at a point. Oh yeah. Oh, not a bad idea, Cal. Not a bad idea. That could be cool. But yeah, so we played at Shuffle and Cut. I actually to go over what deck I did. I played the Cavdine deck, which actually leads to a funnier story. I'll tell in a little bit. But I played a Cavdine deck, which was me quickly pulling out all of the stuff that I thought was only UPF playable because it was my UPF deck from our event at Shuffle and Cut. Pulled out all the stuff, changed around some cards. And basically filed that into a thing, and we had it was crazy. I turned up a little bit early, and I think you were there as well. And we were like, oh, there's only a few of us today, and then basically everybody in Auckland turned up at this, basically at like 5 to 4, and the event starts at 4. Everybody turned up at like 5 to 4, so we had like pretty much a full house, like 30 players.
It was 30 players. We ended up doing 5 rounds that day.
Yeah, so I only stayed for 2 rounds. I played a newish player under Rinthia. Sorry, I can't remember his name now. But he was a good sort, and it was great playing against him because he was so intrigued. He'd never seen Cavdine before, and he was like, what is this deck? Is this a deck? Is this a fab deck that you can play? And I was like, yep. So he was thoroughly entertained. We unfortunately went to time, and obviously I could have eked out a draw, but obviously I gave him the match because I was playing the slower control decks. I felt it was just give him that. And then I played Simon Austin Wallace with Ira, and lost that match, but that was a lot of fun. Playing Basor is always good, and of course since he won, he had a smile on his face. But I don't think he was expecting to lose that matchup against me. And then basically at that point, I had to drop and take my daughter home because I couldn't stay for the other 3 rounds. I can't remember how you did. You had a winning record that event, did you?
That event, I think I went 3-2, or maybe no, I went 2-3. I played earlier in the day at Bay Dragon and gone 3-1 at Bay Dragon, and then went 2-3 because I changed for. I think I can't remember which way I did it. In the morning, I think in the morning I played KO, and in the afternoon I played Reiner, or vice versa. Oh. No, I did. I played Reiner in the afternoon, and my first round was against Carol from Session Blood, and that was one of 2 of my wins over Carol from Session Blood in the last month. So Radio Reflex 2, Session Blood 0. Just to show who the more competitive playing podcast actually is. Shout out to Carol and Kieran who anyone who knows the four of us knows that we are Radio Reflex is not the not the competitive podcast.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, the whole thing with me playing with Cav Dean obviously linked on to, in a strange way, linked on to the Mighty Ape. Mighty Ape had their BlitzCon. I can't remember. I know. Blitzing in the New Year, I believe it was. It was a sellout crowd. They had 48 spaces up for grabs. It sold out really quick. I got my ticket in, and obviously, even you didn't get a ticket. You missed out on a ticket initially, Ian. So people had to scramble for tickets. Carol, of course, from Session Blood, missed out on a ticket as well. And I said, I got you, brother. Like if you can't get in, I'll give you my ticket. So I said that to Carol, and Carol's like, yeah, I'll try and get a ticket, but if not, that's cool. But yeah, we were talking about it in the office, and Jason asked me, Jason Chung, developer, because he was intending on playing the event as well. He asked me what deck I was going to play, and I said, of course, well, I'm going to play the Cav Dean deck I built, and I showed him my list, and he was like, pretty typical kind of control Cav Dean. And then he was like, later in the day, he was like, hold on, and Jason went off to the bathroom, spent some time in there, came back, and he was like, I've got a deck for you, Alan. And I think Jason's intention, he said, is basically, here's a deck, so you don't go to time, because we don't need you going to time every round and extending the event. Here's a quick deck you can play. And he built me a Shiana deck, and as you rightly pointed out, possibly one of the most expensive blitz decks.
Easily the most expensive deck ever put together.
Yeah, so which is true. I haven't done
like legitimately over $10,000 at the moment, because it was all made with alpha print and first edition print cards.
Yeah. Basically because it's merchant, the best of every generic Majestic, and of course Shiana, and a Arknight Shard in the deck to top it off. So yeah, it was a very expensive deck. So Jason basically said, here's a deck for you to play in the weekend. And I said to him, well, I don't know if I'll actually be playing, because I've kind of promised my ticket to Carol, so I may not. So Jason went away, and and he came back and said, all right, well, Alan, if you don't play it, you should make Carol play it. And I was like, oh, well, I can't get Carol to do that necessarily. But I approached Carol and I said, hey, Carol, I've still got that ticket if you want it. But I had a request. Do you want to play this deck? And he's like, and he instantly thought I was like some kind of Cav Dean deck or Ira deck or something like that. And then I showed him the list. I believe I showed you the list the night before or so, like that. And Carol was like, why not? And I said, all right, well, I'll build it for you, Carol. I don't know how well it's going to go. And I gave Carol basically a brief rundown of what Jason told me about how to play the deck. And yeah, Carol ended up being the only Shiana player at the Mighty Ape event. And unfortunately, he only went 2-4. It was a 6-round event. Actually ended up being 54 players, because Mighty Ape was able to add a few extra players, another 6 extra players to the event. But he had fun with the deck. It was, interesting deck. And I told him to talk to Jason, about actually guidance on the deck. But Jason told him he wouldn't tell him anything about how to play the deck until he had played at least one round of the deck. So typical Jason fashion. But yeah, Carol did actually end up winning his first round and met you in round 2.
Yeah. And we had a knockdown match. Like he had a couple of insane turns against me. That really I was only saved because I was playing KO. And I was only saved by the fact that in the end, I stilled a couple of times, and I just managed to get the last couple of turns rolling well on the KO, and I think I ended 3 turns in a row with 12 attack, So just sort of rolled over the top of him in the end, but it was very very close, and yeah, very fun. I think a lot of probably his wins and where he caught a lot of people out with Shiana, of course, is that people forget that Shiana can play any specializations. So so she can actually have arcane damage. And I think that's definitely how he won his first game. Lucky for me, when he actually had arcane damage coming through was the turn that I had Bonehead Barrier. So I managed to stop the arcane coming through with my Bonehead without actually having any null rune on the board. So that was pretty lucky. I was in a little bit better position than other people because of course I kind of had a rough idea of what the deck was trying to do, so I sort of knew that was coming. But yeah, no, it was a really good match, real fun deck. I mean, it's not going to be a deck everyone's going to get to play. Like I can't play it because I don't own a Shiana. But yeah, no, definitely fun. And if you have a Shiana and you want to try it out, perhaps we might look at bringing that list up next week on the podcast just to show people.
I'll try and get the list. It's super interesting. I mean, it's basically all red line. And it does try and basically push for a lot of early damage with every good cheap attack that you can muster, and then like the idea is to like get down a Teklo core, and then use that to like power through a big turn, especially with Whirling Mist Blossom. It's got an Alpha Brawl, Alpha Rampage to push for a big damage turn. But in the blue, it's got very, very little blue, being the Teklos, Lunging Presses, and the Arknight Shard. And it also runs It runs one Wizard spell to try and get the game through. Your opponent doesn't have any.
Lava.
Yeah, Lessons in Lava.
Yeah.
So the idea is your opponent's just not going to expect it. They're not going to bring in any arcane, and then you just push and push, get the life totals down, and then just push over for some essentially, hopefully, in the right matchup, unblockable damage. Although of course, you obviously weren't running Skullhorn.
No, I was while I had Skullhorn, I was running Arknight Skullcap in that matchup. So that was fine. Actually, before we go on, just with talking about Mighty Ape, I just want to give a shout out to Nathan Samu, who was kind enough to reach out to me on the Saturday before Mighty Ape and gift me his ticket. He decided he didn't want to drive all the way out to Mighty Ape just to get a Go Bananas and perhaps scrub out. So and he knew that I was looking to try and find a ticket. So he reached out to me and sort of said, "Look, if you're happy to give me the entrance prizes, you can have the ticket to play." So that was very nice of him. And and I just want to say thank you to him for making it so I was able to actually play at the Mighty Ape event. It was good. And at that event, I ended up going 3-3 in that event. Started with a 2-0 run. I had KO Mirror to start the day against Henry Moore, and that was that's an amazing grind, that Mirror, because we were both playing the control version of KO, so a lot of life gain, a lot of stuff coming down to dice rolls and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a tough one, but I managed to eke that out, and ended winning that with again a couple of turns in a row of Drone Brutality just turning into a 12. Then, as we said, came up against Carol round 2, and then it all went to custard. Then I had 2 rounds against Kano, and that KO deck is it's just very hard because it runs so much red. It runs like 21 red in that deck. The Kano matchup is just super hard. That if you don't get that big damage on turn 1 or 2, they just grind you out, and it's just a very tough matchup. And so both my Wizard matchups just got absolutely blown out of the water. And then I think Then I play, and then I ended by playing two Iras, and I went 1-1 against Ira. So yeah, that's how my day panned out.
Yeah.
I think I like. I know the loss to my loss to Ira. I think I lost to Gary Lynch playing Ira. I feel like I probably lost to a play mistake in that. Just forgot to calculate for the Razor Reflex when I was on 3 life. I was thinking too much about what I was going to do next turn with what I was holding on, and got caught with it. So yeah, it's interesting. I've been doing a lot of testing, obviously, with the calling coming up, being mainly on Brute, but I have been doing a lot of testing of both KO and Rhino, and I'm still unsure which one I'm going to take to the calling at this time. But I think I'm leaning towards Rhino. To be fair, I think as much as KO is fun, just the 10 plus rounds that the calling is going to be, just relying on dice for 10 plus rounds is pretty tough.
Yeah, those dice will be well rounded. They'll be heated up if you play KO for the only event. But yeah, it was an interesting event. So while Ian played and I gave away my ticket, I was obviously still there. So I wasn't feeling so hot, to be honest. So what I decided to do is I decided to do some coverage. And basically, I did cover, some quick coverage on our Facebook page right up until the top 8. And then I just had to go home, so I left it up to TO David Greg to put it up. Now he has put the deck lists up. I believe they have been posted. Otherwise, shout out, I believe, Dice Commando, their channel on YouTube. He has put up a video having a look at the results of that. So yeah, probably I haven't had a chance to give it a watch, but if you're keen, because I'm not going to fully analyze this event, but yeah, maybe have a look at Dice. Yeah, look up Dice Commando's latest episode on Fab.
Without going too far into it, the interesting point was though that 54 player, I believe 12 Iras in the field, and none of them made top 8.
It was, yeah, no, well, I'll give you, hold on, let me go back and find my metagame rundown. Yeah, because, yeah, but there's some, yeah, no, it's definitely fascinating. Ira definitely had the biggest representation. Let's just go find, here we go. All right, so the full breakdown, 54 players. There was 18 Iras, so that tops out.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say what the split was. I assume most of them were kind of like mid-range-ish, but I mean, with Ira, you can have like aggressive mid-range and control builds, depending on what you're thinking. Kano came in next at 11. Then Dorinthia and Viserai. This Runeblade players out in force. Of course, one of those Runeblade players was, in fact, Jason Chung, on the development team. He brought Viserai, and most notably, interesting is, obviously a lot of top players like both Jacob Pearson and Matt Rogers were playing Ira, and Jason actually beat both of them. I think Matt in round 2 and Jacob in round 3. So he dealt out, Viserai dealt out some losses against Ira players, which was really interesting. And who knows if maybe both those players hadn't taken a loss against Jason, maybe an Ira could have made the top 8.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Like, if you actually look at it, like a lot of people are like, oh my god, what happened? Ira's fallen off. But while no Ira's made the top 8, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that like I believe 9, or it's like either 10, 11, 12 or 9, 11, 12 were all Ira players.
Yeah. I might better check that. But after Viserai had 4 Rhino players, 3 Bravo, one of which was Kale. And Kale did take his Bravo deck, which I believe he told me was designed to beat Ira decks.
I thought it was only 2 Bravo players.
Nope, there's 3 Bravo players at the event.
At the event. Right.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about that top
8. No. 2 KO players, you and Henry Moore. 1 Cav Dean player, which was actually, hey, it's gaming. How you doing, man? We're just talking about Blitz. Now, one of the Cavdeen players I've forgotten. His name's gone right out of my head. First calling winner.
Isaac Olsen.
Yes, sorry, Isaac Olsen played Cavdeen, but it did not go well for him because I didn't know he was at least 0-3.
To be fair, I saw Isaac walking into the event, and to paraphrase it, he pretty much used the clerk's "I'm not even supposed to be here today" line on me when I saw it. It felt like he had been dragged along by his friends.
Oh, poor Yurts Gaming. Yeah, well, sometimes you need to be Kale. You need to be Kale to win those matchup, Yurts Gaming. Kale knows what to do. But yeah, after Cavdeen, there's one Katsu, one Dash, and one Shiana. So although two decks did obviously dominate, over half the event, it was good to see basically the only heroes that weren't played were Benji and Kasai. And it's a bit of a shame because I know Kasai has been getting some good press. Diamata has been talking about Kasai online. I believe he's got at least one deck tech discussion. I know a few other people have been doing some deck techs on Kasai. So a little bit disappointed to see no Kasai. And Benji's still unexplored basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's definitely been some Benjis being played here and there at events. Like I know Regan was playing Benji for a little while, but Regan, who actually top 8'd at the Mighty Ape event, had gone back to his original sort of tried and tested Dorinthia. And I think that's another one that Dorinthia has seen a lot. Like now that we're leading into the final weeks, there's been a lot more Dorinthia being played as well. Obviously, Dorinthia has always been a very good character, and I think some people are definitely working out matchups and stuff. In fact, just this past weekend, there was a winner case out at Card Merchant that Tom Penny won using a Dorinthia deck. I believe he actually bet Matt Rogers in the finals, I believe, or at least on the way. In the finals, on the way to the finals, maybe. I'm not 100% sure.
I didn't see any results posted for that event, so I'm not sure of the breakdown. But Tom Penny is a very good Dorinthia player, and he's again one of those kind of, as far as I'm aware, he's pretty much a Dorinthia lifer. He knows no other life but the Dorinthia life.
Well, no, that's not.
He's been always playing.
Like, Tom has been this last month. I've played a lot against Tom in the last month. This actually comes down to that event that we were talking about that we both played at. He was actually on Wizard that day, and I actually bet him on. This is actually probably the funniest match that in ages. I was playing Reiner, I believe, either Reiner or KO. But we were chatting before the game started, and I had noticed that because again, he doesn't normally play Wizard, and I'd obviously put my equipment out prior to him sitting down. And we just were chatting, and then we got into the game, and about a turn and a half, and no, actually probably about 3 turns in, I looked over and went, oh shit, I'm not running any null rune, like 0 null rune, bar an Arknight Skullcap that gets Arcane 3 if you're lower life. So I was like, oh well, this is obviously going to be over. I got him down to, I believe I got him down to 4 life, because again, I think I was playing KO. So I had a good 12 turn or something, and got him down to 4 life. So we're going into the last turn. I believe I was on 6 and he was on 4. And he did 4 damage to me with Sunlight, putting me on 2, allowing the Arknight Skullcap to come online. I was holding 1 blue card. It was on my turn. That's right. It was on my turn. He was trying to kill me, and I was holding the 1 blue card, and it swung at him. And I managed to. So he did 3 damage or 4 damage to me, put me below him, then tried to do another thing to kill me. My Arcanite skill came online. I was able to stop the 3 arcane with the blue that I was holding on into my hand, and ended up winning the game because he had played out his hand to try and kill me.
So
yeah,
clearly Tom's mistake for moving away for Dorinthia taking such a loss.
He also, to be fair, he'd been looking at Brute as well over the last month and a half as well. So
yeah. But yeah, so in the end, the top 8 of the event, basically Wizard had the best conversion rates because out of the 11 players that played, Wizard put 5 players into the top 8. The top 8 was Ang Nia on Wizard in 8th. Regan Herbert, one of our dear friends and of the podcast, Regan made it into 7th place with Dorinthia. I think just nailing getting that winning in the last round as well. Kale, of course, was in 6th place on Bravo. Gavin Wu, 5th place on Wizard. Jason Chung was in 4th place with his Viserai deck, and then the rest of the 3 through 1 were Wizard. Vincent Dojo, and Vincent's been playing a lot of Wizard. Alan Kernahan, who I like to refer to as the more handsome Alan of Auckland. He's basically just like a better looking version of me, which is tough to take. And of course, who was in number 1 spot undefeated was Rohan. Rohan again going into a top 8 undefeated, but somehow
Curse the undefeated in Swiss though.
Rohan. Some kind of Mighty Ape curse, because I'm sure he wins other events just at Mighty Ape. From what I was told, he was in a obviously he got knocked out in the mirror. I'm not sure who against, and basically he had.
I think it was against Gavin who went on to win it. I believe.
Yeah, he just ran into all red hands apparently, and just didn't have the gas to outcompete it. But yeah, the finals did end up being Gavin versus my man Alan Kernahan. So yeah, close finals, but Gavin took it. So Gavin went from the random prize draw of the last Mighty Ape event, winning a first edition box of Arcane Rising, to actually taking home, I believe, another box of first edition Arcane Rising, but this time for actually winning the whole shebang. So yeah, congrats to Gavin on taking down the event. So but as you said, there were still a lot of IRAs just following up. But Jacob Pearson in 13th, Simon Austin Wallace in 12th. I'm not sure of some of the other ones. Gary was in 15th on IRA. Was Niche on IRA?
Possibly, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So not exactly sure, but yeah, it was a cool match. But yeah. So I mean, it's certainly fortunately the information got out, so it's something that players will have to take consideration for the calling.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to the calling, you need to be able to beat Wizard, and you need to be able to beat Ira. Those are definitely going to be the two most played decks, whether or not they win or not. Because one of the things about being the most played decks is that you're also the most tested against decks. So if people are looking to play tech and get testing down, I think there's a lot of leaning towards how do I beat the Wizard mirror at the moment. But it's going to be interesting. I think the calling. The thing about the calling is it's going to be at least 10 rounds with the 140 plus that we've got.
If I remember, because there are some extra rounds because it is Blitz. So at the current, because it won't, the number of rounds won't increase because we'd have to get to like 256. But at the moment, the main event is sold out at 148. I believe maybe Card Merchant will release a few more tickets. But I can't guarantee that. But 100. Assuming everybody that's bought a ticket turns up, or it's 148 players. So it's a pretty big field. I mean, you're going to run across all sorts. That's the thing. You're going to run across all sorts of decks as well. So you do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? It's like And what happened? Like one of the things that happened in the Mighty Ape thing is, sometimes you'll just get a run of, you'll just get a good matchup run. Like I know Kale had 5 Ira matchups in his 6 rounds, six first rounds at Mighty Ape, and I believe went 5-0 against Ira. Or well, I think it was 5-0 against Ira, but at least he played Ira 5 times. So yeah, no, and that's the thing is
I mean, things like, could you have predicted that round 1 you're going to have to play the KO mirror? Like a really good example is like I won't name the name, but many years ago, a pro player, a well-known New Zealand player, talked to me about an event he'd been to that they'd been testing relentlessly for, not Magic and obviously not Fab, but what happened is they were testing against like the big decks, and what happened is they went to the event, they lost the first round, and then instead of being in the brackets with all the decks that they had, they had metagamed against, they kind of found themselves in the weeds with all
in the jank here.
Yeah, and
all those people who thought they'd come out. It's all those people who had thought they'd come out with the perfect way to beat the top deck, and then they all lose round 1, and then you're all of a sudden playing all these weird janky decks that you're like, I have no idea what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and there's a huge this is going to be the biggest event, Fab event in New Zealand history. I mean, God, it's going to just even over 3 days. There's so many events. I mean, there's the teams, there's the PTIQ on the Saturday. So like, not only, it's going to be a huge weekend, but you have to be prepared. You just can't metagame against Ira. The guy in our matchup.
A little bit of feeding the propaganda there from Kale.
But I know the top players.
That's what he wants you to believe.
Yeah. No, it's just going to be a crazy weekend. So many people, a crazy weekend that I will be helping to run. I'll be one of the main men along with my counterparts at Card Merchant. But it's going to be madness, to be honest with you. So prepare all you can, and prepare for the unexpected.
Yeah.
We next week we will do like a calling rundown episode next week, definitely, and hopefully we'll be able to get together with another podcast. Hopefully, we're trying to arrange it. Ignore Leo's saying it will mean nothing to you, Ian. My friend Leo is commenting with it's no, goblins have never been part of the meta, Leo. Never ever. No, never ever. Hopefully we'll be teaming up with another podcast next week if we can get all our ducks in a row. Hopefully we'll be sitting down with Carol and Kieran and maybe do a bit of a calling briefing for you all out there. It's a good time to, and you've got a good record against the Session Blood team, if I remember, Ian.
Against Carol, at least. I'm not 100% sure the last time I played Kieran, to be fair. I mean, I think it may have been a Mighty Ape event mid last year. Like the road. Yeah. No, it wasn't the roads because they didn't do roads. It was whatever the Mighty Ape event before Rhodes was the last time I played Kieran, I believe. And
I'm sure I've played both of them and I enjoy playing, but I cannot remember a match. I'd remember if I won, because then I would have been dancing around saying I beat Carol and Kieran. So clearly, if we've played, I've lost to both of them. That's why I have no memory. The dream has no memory of this, basically. So that's next week we'll get into all the juicy stuff of the calling. And probably our number one tip will be, check your deck list, check it twice. Then if you're not sure, check it a third time. I think that goes for all events. But yeah, I mean, we're a little bit freeform. I was thinking that maybe we, we're in the new year now. I suppose we're well into the new year now. What are our hopes and dreams for Fab this year?
I think that. Yeah, well, that's good. Well, as you said, for next week, we hopefully, if we can get it sorted, we will be doing a collab with Session Blood, and I'm looking forward to actually in 2021 getting out and working with a few more content creators from around the globe. In fact, today I've just put something in tentatively in the works. DM and Marta just recently on their channel Fireball piece. They did sort of a breakdown of UPF. And one of the things he talked about was the idea of house ruling your formats. And one of the formats that he talked about that could be fun was the Highlander format. And so I've actually reached out to him and said, I'm down to play some Highlander and UPF. So the two of us have got together and we've reached out to a couple of other content creators who I won't name now because we're just seeing if we can timing wise get everything together. But yeah, we are looking to throw down the first ever Highlander UPF game in the near future, so that should be fun. And you know, as we are sort of known for here at Radio Reflex, the alternate formats and the sort of more casual, fun formats is what I really enjoy, and I like building quirky decks. I like the idea of Highlander really speaks to me as well. And obviously Highlander only gets better the more sets that come out. But I thought it would be a really nice idea to try throw this down. So basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this UPF event going sometime either end of January or beginning of February, with the idea that we'll do it then, and then we'll do a rematch after Monarch comes out, so we can retweak our decks with the new cards and stuff like that. So that'll be cool. Yeah, and of course, you know, the calling is a big event. We've got, of course, not just the Blitz calling, but of course Sealed Arcane Rising, which is very exciting. I 6-0'd over 2 drafts of Arcane Rising at the end of last year, which was I'm fingers crossed that I can crack some good packs in the round robin and get into the draft top 8 for that, because I feel fairly confident drafting Arcane Rising with a few different strategies. So that's pretty fun. And of course, Team Sealed. We have been really looking forward to Team Sealed. We had a chance to try it out at Hobby Master at the end of last year. We are bringing on a new member of Radio Reflex, though, for our team, and he is a friend of the show. He is a well-known man. He's always happy. He's often supplying people with delicious food, and of course he is known as the overlord of the fan page. Winway is joining Team Radio Reflex for the Sealed, and we can't be more excited about it. He fits in very well. He fits in very well with our love of wrestling, our love of Fab, and our love of playing Jank.
And literally, he was like about the 15th person we went to. So like that just shows you how much we love Winway. No, it was we only had a few people in mind, and Winway is definitely and we shall we? I've got it up on my screen. Shall we debut the shirts that are on the way for our team? We have some fancy shirts that I'm going to say I designed, and by designed I mean I ripped off a meme that has been something wrestling wise. There you go. This is my, well, hopefully people out there will recognize this. This is going to be our t-shirt, New Wraith Order, the NRO. Hopefully some of you will realize this is, of course, me ripping off the classic NWO, New World Order t-shirt. We've even replicated it on the back there, Radio Reflex 2021. So me, Ian, and Winway will be repping these shirts. And I suppose we should put the link somewhere if anybody wants to order their own New Wraith Order.
We'll put it up after the calling. But yes, for those that don't know, we do have a Radio Reflex Print Mighty store that you can order Radio Reflex merch from. Some of you guys in Auckland would have seen the baseball shirt that I often wear, the Radio Reflex baseball shirt I often wear to events. You can get one of those. There's hoodies, there's polo shirts, and everything. So if you want to support Radio Reflex, you can go along and buy a shirt and show your support for the podcast.
Yeah, and if you want to be NRO for life, is the only way to.
Right.
Life. Yeah. So maybe I was actually looking what other wrestling images we can. Hopefully Hogan, Nash, and Scott Hall won't try and find us for ripping this off. Come to our door and slowly kick our ass since they're all old men.
I was about to say we're pretty low on the list of other people who have ripped off the NWO logo.
To be fair, though, maybe they even at their advanced age, they could probably kick my ass. So that'd be fine. That'd be cool. Well, yeah, actually, we should. And talking about creating new things. Shout out to Kirk on FabDB. FabDB is definitely going. Oh, thanks, Kale. Flattery will get you everywhere. Well, I assume he's talking about our T-shirt and not something else we just said. But yeah, shout out to FabDB. FabDB has run its first. They're doing lots of things. I know sponsors and all sorts of bits and pieces. Kirk's been working hard on a bunch of updates. But they launched their, I believe it's Patreon exclusive playmat. Coming up, which I put an order in for one shirt, and apparently it's going to be coming to us very soon, so might have it in time for the calling. I hope. Well, I suppose it depends on shipping, but yeah, no, very excited for that. They've got this very sweet basically winter scene with like a shield buried half in the snow, which has like kind of a FabDB logo on it, so that's very cool. It's cool to see FabDB because basically they're the original database, and Kirk puts a lot of work into it. So yeah, looking forward to getting a copy of the FabDB playmat coming up soon. So yeah, that's my wish that the playmat actually reaches me through the post. So fingers crossed. But I suppose I was actually thinking what my hopes for 2021 are. First of all, for the calling to go smoothly, and for us to have a fantastic top 8. And I suppose my other thing is MAGA. And I'm not talking about making America great again. I'm talking about making Azalea great again. So I suppose my hope for this year, and before anyone says, no, I do not have any idea what the development team is, I find out, at a similar, well, obviously I find out a lot of stuff just before spoiler season, but I'm really hoping we get to see stuff this year for some of the other heroes, and probably the heroes I'm going to say are like, obviously the ones that don't have specializations at the moment, which is like Benji, Cavdeen, Kasai, and obviously top of my list who does have specializations, but again, Azalea I want to see. Obviously, I don't know what's coming up in future set, but just maybe even some generic cards that can help push Azalea. So my great wish for 2021 is just to see some extra love for some of the heroes that just aren't on the top of the metagame at the moment. Because that's one of the things I loved about the Mighty Ape. I would have loved to seen a few more of those characters played, but it's good when you can see people that are happy to bring.
That being said, did anyone actually play Azalea at Mighty Ape?
No. Wait, was it Azalea? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I'm wrong. There's 15 heroes.
Yeah.
You can play. Now, am I right? Am I getting my numbers confused? I'm trying to think how many heroes total are. You got 5. Oh. Basically, yeah. No, sorry. Azalea was not played, which I think is a shame. It was Azalea and Benji. Maybe it was only Azalea and Benji that didn't get played. And so it's 3 heroes.
And Data Doll.
Oh, okay. Oh, Data. All right. So Data Doll needs the most love. What's that? In The Simpsons?
Well, I actually played Data Doll.
Stupid babies need the most help, and I feel like Data Doll is the.
I played Data Doll. I actually played Data Doll for fun, and then I also played like Aggro, rifle build of Dash at a hobby league about a week and a half. Well, no, probably about 2 weeks ago now. And while it's very fun, it absolutely just runs out of gas.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and, and you
I'll tell you a guaranteed way of winning with there's a guaranteed way to win with Data Doll, and I did it. I was amazing. All you have to do is play with 4 cards in hand every turn, and so I
right,
mean, whatever the last event that we were playing at, that I can't remember which event we were at, Hobby
it was a
Master, and
Hobby
you gave
Master, Hobby Master Armory event, I think it
yeah,
was, because you
that's it.
showed up
So
after work and you didn't have
yeah,
a deck, and I was like, I have a Data Doll deck that you can borrow.
yeah. So you gave me the Data Doll deck, and my first round opponent is Regan. So me and Regan are playing, and Regan's like, "Man, your Data Doll's going off," and I'm like, "I'm playing cards, I'm boosting, stuff's going on the battlefield." I'm like, "This can't get any better." And of course, what happens is Chris Gearing, who is also a dev, he stops by, and like I love Chris. He's one of my favorite people. Yeah, I'll say it. He's my favorite. He's my favorite person at work. So yeah, Chris comes by and he's watching, and I can't remember. I assume we get to a lull in the game, and like Chris is like, "So how do you have that many cards in hand?" And I was thinking, "Oh well, because like I didn't defend last turn and blah blah blah." And he's like, "No, no, 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 no." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "How? Why have you got so many cards at hand?" And then like my brain is, there's 2 monkeys, picking, ticks off each other basically, and then like I'm like. So of course, yeah, Data Doll has an intellect of 3, meaning you're only drawing 3 cards instead of the 4 cards I had been drawing for like I don't know, maybe it was
The
like at
whole
least 3
game.
or 4 turns against Regan, like enough to like push him back, and then afterwards, obviously, immediately I apologized to Regan. I was like, oh, well, I'll just concede, and Regan's like, no, let's play it out, and of course. For the rest of that game and the other games that I played that Armory event, I found that having a 3-card hand is really, really, really
Oh,
tough. It's really, really tough. So, and also I ended up getting a lot of hands in which I couldn't actually defend, like just pure hands without any defense, and then you can only play one. You
yeah,
can't play a whole lot of those things out at once, because you don't get go again after play. None
yeah.
of them have play them and then go again. So yeah, Data Doll needs the most help. As I say, stupid babies need the most help. So Data Doll, yeah, Data Doll's on my list for getting that extra love. And I suppose my
When
only
I,
other
when
wish,
I, when I
yeah,
was playing it, I actually, I was talking with someone about it. We were playing because I played a few. I think it was Bernard actually that I played a few games against, and I was like, you know what, Data Doll's actually good for? Data Doll's really good to if anyone out there who likes to do testing but doesn't have people to play against regularly. It's actually a really good deck to put together to test your other decks out against, because the thing is it plays itself, so you can actually just run Data Doll almost as AI,
yeah,
and just play against it to get a feel for what your deck is doing in a match. So it's a really good test dummy. It's basically what Data Doll is.
yeah.
It's the it's the wooden
Crash
it's
test
the
dummy
wooden
of
doll
a
from
format.
Tekken.
It is a crash test dummy of a format. Maybe get an altar with as a crash test dummy instead of Data Doll. All right, so my final wish for 2021 is I want to find my forever hero. I feel like many people have their forever heroes, and even for you, you start on Dorinthia, but obviously like Brute is Reinhardt is your forever hero. But I feel like I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I still haven't found my. I mean, originally when I first started, I thought I'm going to be just Reinhardt or Katsu. I got a ninja on the way, and obviously, like I love a lot of heroes. Like I love Ira dearly, but and to be honest, one of the reasons I'm just not playing Ira at the moment is just because everybody else is playing it, and I know that might sound like I'm trying to be too cool for school, but I don't want to play the mirror all the time, and I don't know. I just feel like I'd rather play something different. But yeah, I really want to need to find my forever hero. I'm just not sure. Maybe Kasai will be my forever hero, but she needs some help at the moment. So we will see. So hopefully 2021. I mean, I've got we've got two sets already up on the forecast for. So hoping my Forever Hero will be in one of those, or maybe give a boost to one of the other ones. So I suppose maybe Kasai at the moment, because I really do like Kasai. But
Yeah.
yeah, really hoping I can find my Forever Hero this year.
I was about to say, there is a hero that I'm waiting for that I'm pretty sure we're not getting in 2021. I'm whenever it does come, I am excited for it. Is of course Bard. Uh, um, I feel like every time I bring this up with anyone, like around James or around or even around Nikki and stuff like that as well, it's sort of like it's probably the class that they wish they hadn't put in the law book, because I'm like, man, I want my Bard. I want him to have a loot. I want him to have like I just want to be hitting people over the head with a loot. And,
Actually, you know what I'd like to see? Fan favorite. I'd like to see Doot. I'd like to see Doot. If any of you guys don't know who Doot is, I'm not sure who came up with the name or the meme, but Doot is the character from Mangle that has that huge, massive, I don't know what it is, scythe weapon, and he's got the guy's head on the helmet on the scythe. But somebody named him Doot, so I'd love to see Doot as a character one day.
I'm very much looking forward to just the artwork more than like. I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to new cards and stuff, but like the one thing I love about the game is just how great the artwork is, and so I'm just really looking forward to seeing the artwork for Monarch, seeing what possibly can come in Kingdom as well. I'm interested to see like there feels like, especially in Crucible, especially like they've set up a bunch of things on and I'll be interested to see how quickly we get stuff for them. Like I think a lot of people think we're gonna get we're gonna get merchant cards in Monarch, whereas I think quite possibly merchant is going to be one of those classes that is not actually going to get direct cards for a while, but obviously still with generics. But I honestly do think like we got coppers in Crucible. I'll be interested to see if we get silvers and golds in Monarch, or whether or not we might get silvers in Monarch and golds in Kingdom, or something like that, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the big things is that obviously I can't say anything about the development team, but I think the one thing I can say about the development team, and I mean, just obviously this is about James in general, is they've got a long-term plan. Nothing's going to be rushed. All these things are going to be worked through. So, and and I suppose like the other thing is, we intend to be making this card game for a long time. So like I feel like people aren't going to get what they want straight away, but that's a good thing. And I feel like the team, they're going to take their time, and everything's going to be interesting. But it's just like there's no need to rush on some of these heroes. So yeah, but then again, I could be wrong. Maybe they're rushing that Bard through development for you right now, Ian. That could be a possibility. I suppose one of the things as I've always told James that I wanted to see is like animal companions. Because in D&D, I was a big fan of playing Druid, and of course, when I was playing D&D, which is like 3rd edition, 3.5, Druids, can't use armor, but they often have animal companions, and I always loved having a badger, because why not? Badgers, we don't need no stinking badgers, but I like badgers. So like I've always had this idea that I could have my hero and my weapon as like like this. Maybe I have like a little staff in one hand, and I have like a tank badger.
To be fair, they have sowed the seeds of that, like especially through Azalea. Like there's those sort of dog-looking things at the bottom of, I think it's Sikkim Shot, and also Feigned Death as well. Yeah. The sort of monstrous-looking things, and obviously there is a number of animals that have shown up on brute cards as targets or attacks and generic cards. So so yeah, that's a possibility. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes in the new set. Obviously, we're very much blitz orientated at the moment. Of course, at some point we will switch into gear and go back to classic construction, because I know Nationals is. I know that they want to keep Nationals as a classic constructed format, as a sort of like the Test match cricket of Fab. There you go. For any of our Americans watching, they won't understand that reference. But the more sort of the long game, the more I don't know, cerebral is probably the wrong word, but definitely the long format of the game. And so I would be looking. I am looking forward to. I mean, because I don't even actually currently have a classic constructed deck made up because I'm so all in on Blitz at the moment.
Yeah, to be
But
fair, me too. But well, we'll see with these things. All right, well, we're over the hour mark now, so probably a good time to start wrapping this up. I don't know if we want to do any Kirk's Corner. I'll save that for another week. Maybe Kirk's Corner with the Session Blood team. We get
possibly
to ask them who their favorite wrestlers are.
Also, actually, for next week, Kurt's Corner is, of course, it is a big. It's a big time of the year for wrestling coming up. We will be doing our predictions for the Royal Rumble, which is, of course, a favorite of both mine and Alan's favorite, one of the favorite pay-per-views of the year. This year, of course, we have the men's and women's Royal Rumble. So yeah, get your thinking caps on who you think might be in on that, and of course we'll put our classic put a couple of packs on the line for each Rumble prediction.
Funnily enough, I think I'm going to have to move because my usual prediction is always Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch for the Royal Rumbles. But since Becky is currently looking after as a new mum now and looking after her firstborn, I assume she still will be at the Rumble. So yeah, Becky Lynch coming back, throwing away leaving the child at the corner on the. Coming into the child, leaving the child with the scorekeeper with the bell ringer, and then dashing into the Rumble. I assume that's how it's going to go down, Ian.
Yeah, sure.
Becky Lynch, two-time winner. Once one is single and one is a mum. So that's
both times she didn't actually have an entry in the Rumble itself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she won a Rumble she wasn't actually invited to. So that's that was one of my favorite Rumbles actually of recent years. But yeah, and the best thing of course is the Royal Rumble is on the Monday after the calling. So a sleepy, tired little Alan will be hopefully waking up early enough and grabbing my customary pay-per-view snacks and spending beautiful, because it is Auckland anniversary weekend. So if you're out there and you're considering playing all 3 days, you will have a day off. You will have, well, if you come from Auckland, and if you've come from anywhere outside of it, hopefully you've also taken the Monday off as well to get back to wherever you're going. Because I mean, we're going to have people, from Whangarei, and we're going to have people from Dunedin coming up. Who knows if we go any deeper? I don't know if there's many Fab fans deeper than Dunedin. Maybe, but yeah, it could be. I mean, probably the biggest shame about this calling is just unfortunately our brothers and sisters from Australia, Malaysia, even the US won't be able to make it over, which unless somebody has really committed and are currently in quarantine right now.
They'd already have to be here.
yeah, basically. So I think that's my probably. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to when we can have callings in this country, or even when we get to have callings again in other countries, and we can go over there, and the Kiwi contingent will be there, and we get to see, because there's so many of the Australians I'd love to catch up with, Andy, the whole team from Midian Guard, Nick Butcher. There's so many of those guys that it would just be really good. Lee Fletcher, just people would be really good to catch up with. Have a hug, have a handshake, and hopefully have a beer after the event with. So, yeah, shout out to all the people that would love to come to the calling, but can't be here. Hopefully, we will see you. Fingers crossed, we can see you some in 2021, and if not, 2022.
Yeah, no, that is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping by the end of the year that we can at least get to Australia. That'd be nice, even if it is just. For a weekend to do some sort of event would be kind of cool. Yeah. All right. Well, as always, that has been us. We will be back next week now that we are back on online. Cal. Yeah, yes, Western Australia would be great. It would be great anywhere in Australia. It'd be great to start seeing some tournaments happening, and I mean, because I know even within Australia they can't always travel in between states at the moment. So fingers crossed that vaccines come out and people get sorted. And as always, wash your damn hands. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you again